The galactic station Nexus Prime buzzed with its usual chaos of interspecies commerce. Thousands of beings from across the known galaxy moved through its crystalline corridors, Zephyrians with their translucent wings catching the artificial light, hulking Chronari dragging cargo containers behind them, and the ever-present Veltar merchants hawking their exotic wares. Kareem Hassan adjusted his translator earpiece and checked his chronometer. 3 hours until his transport to the Outer Rim colonies departed. As one of only 50 humans granted diplomatic immunity on the station, he'd grown accustomed to the stares and whispered conversations his presence generated. Humanity was still the newcomer species, barely 2 centuries into galactic society. He was reviewing his mission briefings when something made him look up. Across the main thoroughfare, near a cluster of Veltar food vendors, a small figure caught his attention. She couldn't have been more than 7 or 8 years old by human standards, though her species was unfamiliar to him. Her skin had a soft lavender hue, and delicate silver markings traced patterns along her arms. Most striking were her eyes, large, luminous amber orbs that seemed to hold far too much fear for someone so young. The girl was flanked by 2 tall beings in dark robes. Kareem recognized them as hegemony officials from their distinctive insignia. One held what appeared to be legal documentation, while the other maintained a firm grip on the child's small hand. What bothered Kareem wasn't the scene itself. Custody transfers and legal proceedings happened constantly on Nexus Prime. It was something subtler, something that made his human instincts prickle with unease. The girl's body language screamed distress, yet every other being in the area walked past without a second glance. Kareem moved closer, activating his earpiece's enhanced audio pickup. The hegemony officials were speaking in clipped, bureaucratic tones about processing and relocation protocols. The child hadn't spoken a word, but her eyes darted desperately around the crowd, as if searching for help that would never come. "Excuse me," Kareem said, approaching the group. His translator rendered his words in standard galactic. "Is everything all right here?" The taller hegemony official turned toward him with barely concealed irritation. "This is an official matter. Human, your concern is noted but unnecessary." Kareem studied the documentation the official held. Even upside down, he could see it was a standard custody transfer form. Everything appeared legitimate, which only deepened his unease. "What's your name, little one?" he asked, crouching to the girl's eye level. "Seelan," she whispered, her voice barely audible. The simple word carried a tremor that made Kareem's chest tighten. "The child has been processed according to all relevant statutes," the second official interjected. "She is being relocated to appropriate facilities." Kareem stood slowly, his mind racing. In the 2 years he'd spent on various galactic stations, he'd learned to read the subtle cues that most species missed. Humans had evolved as social predators, developing an acute ability to detect deception and hidden threats. Right now, every instinct he possessed was screaming that something was wrong. "What species is she?" Kareem asked. "Lyrian," the first official replied curtly. "A minor tributary world. The child is an orphan being placed in protective custody." Kareem nodded slowly, but his enhanced earpiece had already begun running linguistic analysis. Lyrian. He'd heard that name recently, but couldn't place where. "And you're taking her where exactly?" "That information is classified," the second official said, moving to leave. "Good day, human." As they began to walk away, Salen looked back at Kareem with those luminous amber eyes. In that brief glance, he saw something that made his blood run cold. Not just fear, but recognition. She understood exactly what was happening to her. Kareem activated his personal communicator and called up the galactic news feeds. It took him less than 30 seconds to find what he was looking for. 3 days ago, the Lyrian homeworld had been declared a plague zone by the hegemony. The entire population was supposedly being evacuated for their own safety. Supposedly. Kareem had read enough classified human intelligence reports to know that the hegemony's protective custody programs had a disturbing tendency to make entire species disappear. The galaxy was vast, and who would miss one small tributary world? But they'd made a mistake taking Sealan in broad daylight on Nexus Prime. They'd counted on the same thing that allowed countless injustices to occur across the galaxy. The assumption that if something appeared legal and official, it must be acceptable. They hadn't counted on human pattern recognition. Kareem moved quickly through the crowd, following the distinctive dark robes. His communicator was already patched into the human diplomatic network, uploading every piece of data he could gather. The hegemony officials led Sealan toward the restricted docking bays far from the public areas where their actions might draw scrutiny. "Ambassador Singh, this is Kareem Hassan," he spoke into his comm unit. "Priority alert. I have evidence of a potential genocide in progress. Transmitting all data now." He kept following, recording everything. The hegemony officials loaded Sealan onto an unmarked transport ship. Through his enhanced optics, Kareem could see other small figures already aboard, more Lyrian children, all looking terrified and confused. Within minutes, his communicator crackled to life. "Hassan, this is Singh. We've reviewed your data. The human fleet is already moving to intercept that transport. You've just exposed the largest systematic abduction operation in this sector's history." As hegemony security forces suddenly swarmed the docking bay, Kareem watched through reinforced glass as the transport ship was surrounded by human vessels. The rescue operation was swift and decisive. Later, as he filed his official report, Kareem reflected on what had happened. Every other species on Nexus Prime had seen the same scene he had. They'd seen the official documentation, the proper procedures, the legal authorization. They'd accepted what they were told to see. But humans had evolved differently. They'd learned to survive by questioning what seemed normal, by trusting instincts over institutions, by recognizing that sometimes the most dangerous predators wore the most convincing masks. In the end, it wasn't humanity's technology or military might that had saved Sealan and hundreds of other Lyrian children. It was something far more fundamental, the simple human refusal to look away when something felt wrong. The galaxy had much to learn from its newest members.